Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another weekly episode of Everything Vaguely Paranormal. As always, I am Blake Smith, and with me is my partner in the paranormal, Miss Shelley Pruitt. How are you doing?
I'm great. Just came off four days at Old Park, and boy, the stories I have to tell. And if you were a Patreon member, an Old Park Patreon member, you saw my shock and my awe at what I discovered in one of the rooms. Yeah, I probably needed a change of underwear at that point, but you can go to my Facebook page and see what I found. Quite unexpected. Scared me.
I know, it was
How
pretty
about
interesting.
you?
We deduced how that could have happened on the pre-broadcast,
And how it couldn't have.
Yeah, and how it couldn't have. I am doing wonderful. I've had quite a lazy weekend. I can't complain. Just hanging out with friends and listening to all the fireworks. Didn't really shoot any off, but just listening to them and then trying to sleep.
You did.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh.
I did not. What's anything? I just play video games all weekend.
Like, okay.
You know, I'm 37 years old. People are like, what'd you do with your weekend? I can't tell them. I chase sprites around all weekend. They won't get what I'm talking about.
Yeah, probably not.
Fortnite, people. Fortnite. Anywho.
Is our guest still waiting? Oh my gosh, right, she probably already tagged out.
No, I am super excited to have this guest back because she's been on with us before. Been probably to one of the most powerful readings I myself personally have ever received at a convention. And she is a psychic medium, as well as an intuitive tarot and oracle practitioner. And she is the founder of the newly named Dragonfly Spirit that we will be learning all about tonight. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring her to the screen. Y'all, let's welcome Kris Baughman. Hey, Kris, how's it going?
Hi, Kris.
Hey, friends.
Hey.
You were brave enough to come back. Hats off to you.
Yes.
I always have to ask, are you sure? Are you sure?
Well, it was debatable, but then I thought, you know what? What's the worst that could happen, right?
Right. I appreciate the honesty.
As I said, we finally get an honest answer from a repeat guest. Well, I didn't think about it first.
It was debatable, but the chick seemed desperate when she reached out. Would you like to come on?
Sure, why not?
So, Kris, tell us what's been going on with you. You used to have readings by Kris, and you have recently rebranded and named it Dragonfly Spirit. Why did you do that? Have you added new things to it?
Yes. I got to thinking, you know what? I do so much more than just readings. And I kept thinking, you know, there's got to be something different I can do, but I'm not sure how I want this to work. And I was at a metaphysical fair in November in St. Louis, sitting at my table, minding my own business in between clients. And all of a sudden, I literally heard a voice say, Dragonfly Spirit. I'm like, okay, wherever you came from, Dragonfly Spirit.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, well, I've been thinking about what am I going to do? How am I going to change the name? Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, well, I heard Dragonfly Spirit, so I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. And it just kind of grew on me there in about 5 minutes.
Nice.
I don't make decisions very quickly, but that one happened very quickly.
That's
and I thought, yeah.
That's just one of those things where you go, okay. When it expands that quickly, that's a little bit more than I think your brain sometimes. I think that's a powerful sign.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, dragonflies are all about metamorphosis, change, good luck. And I thought, you know what, let's just run with it. Let's just do it. And I have a fun little affinity to dragonflies. I was in Michigan hanging out with some friends on the lake, just floating around in my little floaty, minding my own business. And this giant, big blue dragonfly came up, and it literally spent probably 30 to 45 minutes just flying, buzzing around me, landing on me, and then it would take off again. And it was the coolest experience ever. And it was just me and the dragonfly hanging out on the lake. And that kind of stuck with me. And everywhere I've lived, I've always had dragonflies. In fact, I just saw a big one yesterday. I was standing in the kitchen looking, I had my blinds closed on my sliding door because it's hot. Yeah, it's hot here in July and humid. And I thought, you know, I'm going to close those. And this is a big old, probably about that big dragonfly shadow went right across in front of me. I'm like, okay, there's a good sign. There's a good sign. So yeah, that's kind of how it all fell together.
So Spirit went, we're going to jazz this up. This is what we're calling it. Are you listening to me?
No.
Listening.
So
listening.
I
Yeah.
know when you did readings by Kris, like you were focused on oracle and tarot as well as just mediumship and stuff. So what else has been added to that came with the change?
So I work with angelic healing energy. I am certified a golden ray angelic healing practitioner as well as instructor, certified instructor as well. So since I talked to you guys last, I had been at a convention in Arkansas and met a wonderful practitioner who worked with angelic healing, and I found out she was an instructor. And it's just one of those things when you just know, you get the calling like, I need to look at this. I need to do this. So I went through the training and became certified as a practitioner. And then I thought, you know what? I really would like to teach this. I think this would be a great thing. And teaching is my background. I'm a retired educator. So I thought, you know what? Let's do that coursework as well and get the training. So now I'm an accredited instructor with the International Association of Therapists. So something
Wow.
along those lines. I probably got the name wrong. But yeah, the IAOT. So it's great. So I can now teach, and I've had a couple students already. No one who's gone through the teacher part yet, but I do have a couple students who went through the practitioner
So you're a
training.
retired
So that's
teacher.
pretty
That's
cool.
why you can handle us bad kids. So
Right.
I have to know though.
With
Now
my
you're gonna
back turned,
With my back turned.
with my
Yes,
turn and my eyes closed.
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
So I have to know, can you tell me what is golden angelic healing or angelic golden? How exactly did you phrase it?
So golden ray angelic healing.
Golden
So
ray
it's
angelic healing.
So it's a modality of energy work similar to Reiki, and it works with the 4 watchtower archangels, guardian archangels. So we work with archangels Michael, we have Raphael and Gabriel and Uriel as well. So just connecting with the ray of angelic healing in the angelic realm. So there's a connection to the crystal grid of the earth as well as the golden angelic realm. And it's working with the energy, calling in the watchtower archangels, and they each have specialties and cardinal directions. So it's pretty much okay, we're here as a team. What do we need to do? Are we working on physical healing? Is it mental? Is it spiritual? Is it a place? Is it a relationship? Is it a pet? Is it flora, plants, things like that? A meadow, a forest? Is it the world? Is it a population? So it's very versatile. It works with everything and anything. And it's really intention focused and working with the angelic energy. And you don't have to be specifically spiritual or religious in any way, shape, or form to work with the energy or to be a recipient of the healing energy.
That's extremely cool because
Cool.
I just, and when I say recently, I haven't even had a chance to tell Shelly about this. I just recently got to partake in a Reiki session as a volunteer healer. I was being taught like in the moment. And so whenever you're talking about like angelic healing, that's my question, is how closely related to Reiki it was. So I'm glad you said that. Wow, that's really cool. I like how it is so versatile.
Mhm.
It's because
Yes.
the Reiki session that I got to be a part of was focused on physical healing. But I didn't even realize, I didn't even stop to think, I guess, because I'm just kind of learning at this point that, wow, you could use it for so many different things.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's very similar to Reiki, that, it's hands off. So Reiki, it can be hands on or hands off. And this is the same way. Sometimes you do feel moved to bring the hands in and hover. Otherwise, if you're doing a distance session, you really maybe don't even, feel like there's a need for that, but it's very visual, I suppose. In my mind, it's very visual because everything happens, up here when we work with all the different things, all the energy. And yeah, it's just so universal and so versatile. And it's just fabulous. Just Yeah, can't say
When you
enough good about it.
when you say distance healing, does that mean you don't have to be in the same room, or does that mean that you good over in that corner, and then I'm going to stand way the hell over here in case something jumps off of you?
Well, that too.
I mean, I
There you
don't.
go.
I'm not really making light of it. I'm just trying to understand what distance means. Like I can do it from 10 states away from around the world, or I'm in the room, but I am far enough
Yes.
back that there's no actual physical interaction between you and I.
So it could be literally face to face, a few feet apart. They're in a chair or relaxing, on like a energy, like a Reiki table. Can't even think of the name, but yes, like a massage table.
Mhm.
It could be they're sitting in a zero gravity lawn chair, just hanging out, chilling, whatever it might be. Or, on a couch, whatever. Or it could be they're in a completely different state or a completely different country, and it's really focused on, there's a little intake. So what would be the concern? I try to kind of focus on maybe the top 1 to 3 concerns, because we can have a laundry list, and it's more effective, I think, in my opinion, if we're focusing on maybe 1 to 3 top things. So maybe somebody has some back issues, or maybe they have a relationship that they need a boost in, maybe some healing, emotional repair. Maybe they have some, what we would call, baggage, shadow work, that kind of thing. Things that they're working on releasing, but they need some assistance from maybe some angelic power in order to do that. So, yeah, it could be somebody who we do phone intake and talk about, okay, what are your goals? What are your top things that you would like to see worked on? And then after the session, which takes 45 minutes ish to an hour, thereabouts, then I do a follow up with, okay, what messages did I receive? So did I see anything? Did I feel anything? Did I hear anything? Did messages pop in, whether they're words, sentences, phrases, numbers sometimes pop in, angelic numbers, or just
Mhm.
strings of numbers, colors, any area that I feel like, okay, I visualize somebody was energetically working in this area of your energy or your body. And then the next question, which always floors a lot of people, so what did you experience during the session? Did you feel anything? Did you have any cool or hot sensations? Was there any tingling? Um, is there, anything that maybe you felt like there were people standing around you, but you were in the room by yourself? So many different things that people also will note as they've gone through the session. And it's just sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, yes. Well, by the way, yeah, that did happen, or I did hear that, or I saw that color. And then I usually take the approach of, whatever I'm sharing with you, take what resonates and
Mhm.
file the rest away, or save it for later. It may be relevant, or it may feel important down the road. Yeah.
So, do you find being intuitive, psychic medium, that it comes, I don't know if I want to use the word more naturally, to do things like this with angelic healing, or in my opinion, like Reiki healing or energy work of some sorts? Do you find it easier to utilize the gifts that you have to be able to tune in better to the healing that you're trying to give?
I do. I feel like it's a whole package. So we all have those talents, gifts, whatever they might be, that we can bring to the table. And some may take a back seat, some may shine. And it's different for me for every session. I never really know what's going to show up or who's going to show up. I always put out the call to my spirit guides, my spirit team. I always bring in Archangel Michael, because he's
Mhm.
my guardian angel. So he's my buddy, and he's my
I bet you
protector.
put out a lot of
And
requests for this interview. Go ahead.
I'm like, all right, I need you all, please.
Need you all.
All four.
Everybody
Let's
show
Get
up
go.
out of the bar and line
everywhere.
them up, boys. Line them up.
Everything everywhere all at once.
So you ask for
Literally.
them to
But
come in and help you.
yeah,
Okay.
so I do. And I always ask for the greatest and the highest good for whoever the client might be. Like anything that happens, anything that comes through, will only be for their greatest and highest good. Nothing that is negative or low vibration is welcome in the session. Like they are, I think the pre-show we talked about, I'm just off the cuff said I have big boundaries,
Right.
strong boundaries. I do. I have very, very strong, very defined boundaries about who can and who cannot come in during a session. I think this is for everybody's benefit and everybody's protection, because we don't always know what's floating around out there, you know?
Well, when you're in a space of, I'll touch on that for a second. Like when you're in a space of trying to do energy work of any kind, and you're essentially channeling at that point,
Mhm.
I mean, you don't, yeah, absolutely. Those boundaries have to be in place. I 100% agree. The only place that I see, do you do any, does that extend into your readings as well? Like with tarot, with oracle, or anything like that? Is that just a boundary across the board that you just say, nope, not letting any of it in?
Across the board. And I think that comes from my career as an educator, because I had to go to work every day with in a building with upwards of 400 little friends running around, plus maybe 50 adults, and it all just, the door had to be shut, because you can't. I can imagine just being overwhelmed and bombarded by those in the spirit realm, or the little energies that hang out with everybody, that people may or may not be aware of. So I had to shut it down. So I learned really fast. I had to have some boundaries. Otherwise, I would just be a energetic wreck. I'd just be worn out. And I don't know that I'd be able to crack my eyeballs open and crawl out of bed to go do the day. Yeah.
Have you ever had a negative energy that was just insistent on communicating with someone that was in front of you for whatever reason? And if so, how did you stop it if it was really strong and very insistent?
So I've had some clients, I will say, who came to the and this were more at like a show, a convention type thing, who came to the table to sit down for a reading, but they definitely had energy with them that was not beneficial to them. They were very well aware that something was not right, but they didn't quite know how to verbalize that. Like, hey, I'm aware something's going on. We need to figure this out. So at that point, Archangel Michael pops in, takes over basically, and puts the energetic shield up. So then I could take a look, do a little assessment. Okay, here's what I notice. Here's where I see this energy in your energy, or next to, behind, in front, all of that stuff. And then working with my Reiki training, able to use those skills to send an invitation, best way to say it, that energy to exit.
Send an invitation. I'm gonna start saying that whenever I don't want
like
somebody to go, you know what, we'll just send them an invitation not to attend.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and at that point, I trust that Archangel Michael has it covered. So I also impart that with the person that I'm talking to, like, by the way, a part of this is intention and focus. So we have a belief that it is working. We know that, what is here now will not be here when we are finished. So it's very much, my opinion, if you want it to work, you believe that it works. If you're like, yeah, whatever, okay. And then they get up, leave the table and go live their life. If they haven't set a boundary, like, this no longer happens, this energy is no longer welcome, I am protected, I have a bubble around me, that kind of thing, then perhaps that energy may just tag along and, not pay attention to the direction of, you don't belong here anymore. You need to go back where you came from. Yeah. But I can't say that I've ever been in a situation where I've had something violent or something, that was very extremely persistent. So I can say I'm not experienced in that.
Well,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
Yes.
I just put it in the comments. I will only work with them at investigations when we're in the field. I don't necessarily like to work with the negative in readings and any of the energy work that I do as well. Mainly because, I'm channeling at that point, and I'm channeling and connecting with somebody else's energy, and I'm not putting up with that shit. You can come talk to me in my spirit dice when we're at a haunted location, and I'm there to investigate why the hell you're there. But the only time I've done it with the negativity is if they've come to me and said, hey, I think I have this, possibly, because I've ruled everything else out. Is there any way that you can help me identify and or figure out if it is what I think it is? That's the only time I've ever worked with them on one-on-one cases with clients. So
maybe that's what's wrong with me, because I'm always like, come on, come all. You want to talk? Let's go. But as Kris told me, the very first time I ever met her, she looked at me, she says, I would not step to you because you are highly protected, which is probably why I'm like not afraid to go in anywhere. I'm like, nah, somebody got my back. Y'all come on. I'll talk to anybody who wants to talk. I got this army behind me. So
right. You have the steel, like the steel wall.
Are they still there?
They're
I wonder. Thank you.
24/7. Yeah, they're never going to go anywhere. Yeah, they're yours.
Yeah, they're like, oh God, no. They probably take turns, tag team in and out. One goes to the bar, get a break, and the other one's
I was going to say, they're still
crap,
there.
It's my turn.
They're all just sitting in a corner smoking cigarettes going, dear God, if she would ever just shut up and listen.
If that one in the corner would stop crying, it would probably be a lot of it.
Shots, exactly. Yeah, that's it. No, I will.
Well,
I want to I don't know, sing your praises for a second, Kris, because I received a reading from you, and you had told me about Sadie, my great-great-grandmother, Native American, because you just was like, I see her over your shoulder, and I only see two versions of her, really young, really old. It turns out that that's the only type of pictures I have of her, either really young or really old. She is Native American. And you were like, work with her. She's also one of your spirit guides. And flipped over the card. I'll never forget it. The spirit animal being a she-wolf at the same time. And you're just like, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Holy crap. And let me tell you something. I have done a lot of work with, I leaned into that after I had that reading with you. And I've done a lot of work with her. And she is, because you told me she will be your most powerful asset in what you do. And she has. She truly has. When I'm having problems in the field, I'll just say, it's almost like a light bulb will go off and it's like, oh, Sadie. And I'll go, Sadie, I need your help. Can you, hold this one back so I can speak to this one that's being, tampered down by this other spirit. And as soon as I ask that, I'll start throwing spirit dice and I'll start talking to that spirit. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. You can let them go. And then lo and behold, they'll come back with an FU, or something like that. And because I pissed them off and I'm like, hey, don't mess with my great-great-grandmother. Like,
well, now I'm gonna throw something in on that too. He was so impressed with his reading that he got from you, Kris, that's what we talked about for the next 2.5 hours in the room. And I know, and I'm gonna tell you that became extremely beneficial. He was going through everything. He was telling us all about it, and to the point where I believe that another person came back and got a reading from you the next day. But when he got affected at a location and I could not get him to focus so I could pull whatever it was off of him, I said, who do you need to call for? And he goes, I don't know. I go, yes, you do. Who do you need to call for? And he goes, I don't know. And I said, what is your grandmother's name? Call your great-grandmother's name. And he goes, Sadie. I went, call her. And he called her name strong. And suddenly he kind of started to snap back to attention. Yeah. It took him about 15 minutes to kind of come back to where I could work with what was going on with him. But yeah, because of that, because of him telling us about that, I knew who to ask for in that moment.
Yeah.
Because usually I just start screaming at him, going, "Leave him alone, get off of me," which is highly ineffective most of the time.
Yeah. So I wanted to sing your praises because I don't think I've been able to tell you about me being able to work with her so much. And had it not been for you, I think it would have taken me longer. I think I would have met her eventually because I do so much energy work and mediumship and stuff. But I kind of got to her quicker, if you will, so to speak, through you. So I appreciate you for that. And you were spot on with that reading.
I'm going to say there are no coincidences. Everything happens at the right time with the right person in the right place. So maybe that was the time that you were meant to initially connect with her more than you already had. And then, of course, the rest is history, so to speak. But thank you. Right. I appreciate that, the compliment. And it's always my pleasure to serve the community and to benefit people for their greatest and highest good. That's why I'm here. That's what I do. Why I do what I do. So, and I love the feedback because I'm human. And sometimes I don't believe maybe as deeply in myself. I'm like, man, did I really do that? Did
Mm.
that really come through? Does it makes no sense to me? I have no context because it's not my information. And when I hear people give me some feedback and I don't remember readings because, again, it's not my information. I might remember a tiny little tidbit here and there. It's great to get that validation. So the human side of me is like, okay, yeah, you're still doing good. Still hang in there. Keep doing it. Keep going. Yeah.
I think,
I'm going to wait a minute real quick. Like Kris did say that if anyone who's watching right now has a question, that she is willing to take a question and see if she can tune in, just so you know. But my question to you, Kris, is whenever you connect long distance, like as if you were going to answer a question now, if you were going to do that, how exactly are you able to focus? Do you maybe look at the name on the screen, or do you listen to a voice, or here you're going to be seeing words? What is it that clicks for you to connect?
This happens. Generally, I prepare with a little prayer, if you will, asking for protection, asking for my guides to come in, welcoming anybody who is, and here's my key, for the greatest and highest good of the client, or anybody. If I'm reading for the collective, I do card pulls. That's basically the key. It has to be for the greatest or highest good, or it doesn't come through. I won't receive it if it's not for the greatest or highest good.
Right.
And at that point, I don't know. I can't explain how it happens. It just does.
So
that's odd. I know.
No, it's such
like,
a true, but it's such a true
Yeah.
statement, because I had to have done readings over video, and I can't explain it. It just happens, it's
Right.
Mine is more, I'm going to ask my spirit guides to connect with your spirit guides to help, let's that conversation happen on that side, and let me channel with my guides through into the dice. I don't know how it happens, so I'm going to back you up on that, Kris. I don't know how the hell it happens. It just happens.
It does, yeah. It's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's odd for me to say. It's just weird, but for me, it's a multimedia experience in my head. So I am seeing pictures, symbols. Spirit has kind of a set of symbols that it shows me for different things. If a loved one is checking in on somebody, like, they pop in regularly, they've passed and crossed, but they still check to make sure the family's doing great. I will see like a Victorian doll house, the kind with the roof that opens up, where the kid can look into it, move the furniture and the dolls around in it.
Aww.
I see that. That's what I see. I'm like, okay.
So you predominantly
they're showing me that, yeah.
You
But then I hear
predominantly get
words.
those. Oh, I was going to say, do you predominantly get
Oh, yeah.
pictures and images, or you saying you get words as well?
Oh, I get words, phrases. I hear voices sometimes. See like a movie playing behind my eyes. I get energy colors, areas in person's body that may need some attention, and it's kind of gray or foggy versus bright, glowing. So it's so interesting, and it happens differently for everybody. So I never really know what is going to come in. Sometimes I get a scent. Sometimes I will start talking like the person who is being channeled. I might say the things they say, or maybe the tone that they use, or the accent, or the attitude. I have no idea how it just happens, but it just does. Yeah.
And
I know. I was going to say, when you were talking about feedback earlier, and that's the reason why we love the feedback, I think, is because we don't necessarily fully understand it ourselves. I don't think anybody's ever going to until we cross over to the other side. And then we kind of put two and two together from this life to that life. Because the feedback, as you said, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. So when we have those people, like somebody actually just said in the comments that they haven't had a reading by you, but they can attest how well I connect because they've received a couple of readings from me. I love stuff like that because it's just for you. That's it. And if it resonates with you, great. But let me know, please. Let me just say this. I hate the psychic medium test where they sit there across from me and they do this, arms folded the whole time, poker faced, and they just sit there. And they don't give you anything. And it's kind of like, okay,
But that's okay, because that's how I work. I don't want to see a reaction from somebody. I don't ask questions. If I ever ask a question, if it's a relationship reading, like, I'm like a relationship reading, great, okay. The only question I'm going to ask is, are you currently in a relationship? And I asked that question because I had a reading with somebody who was currently in a relationship, and what was being channeled from spirit was, we have somebody here for you, somebody that you are going to be connected with. This could be an amazing, like the person for you. And they're looking at me like, what the hell?
Time to
have
sign
somebody.
those
I'm like,
divorce
well,
papers, baby. Sign them.
that's exactly what it all boiled down to, was things were maybe not so great. But that person was at a point yet where they weren't quite ready to rectify how things were going in their current relationship, but spirit had already lined up the next person for them. And it was just fascinating when they're looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm just sharing what I get, And I always say, take care of what's going on right now.
Hey, spirit, get me out of this dry spell.
Right? Yeah, I'm asking for that too. So,
Okay.
come on, folks.
Well, we have a couple of questions that are popping up over in the comments. I'm not sure if you're able to tie into this one distantly or not, but we do have a viewer that's just more curious about her parents and whether they are around. But I think it's the Nunya Business Google is the name. Now I'm
so pop it up on the screen.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah, Nunya Business. There we go. Yeah. And we're just asking if parents are around. So I get yes. And I get they're around a whole lot more than you imagine, envision, I guess. Feels a whole lot more. Father comes around more maybe than mother does. Yeah, it feels like, and this is not like, ooh, he takes charge and he's the one who, has to step forward. It's more like he's like more of a closer connection. And it feels like maybe there was some, I'm going to say, regret. And I come around as an father, come around a lot more because maybe there were some regrets. And by coming around more, I feel like maybe I'm the energy that soothes the soul. That's interesting how that popped up. Soothes. What else? Soothes the soul. I get mother does check in, but she's like very busy doing other things, other places. So she's not around 100% of the time, but she does come in and check in pretty regularly. Feels like father does a lot of visitations in dreams versus mother. As well. So yeah.
And she just said, wow.
I was fixing to say, I do know who that is. And I actually have talked to her on the phone quite a few times, and that has been mentioned about the closeness with her father. So
she just put in the comment, daddy's girl. Yeah.
I can spot on verify you for that instant verification for that, Kris. Good job. Wow.
So more question now than reading, I guess you could say, from another viewer, is that this is the one we actually get a lot, and I tried to explain it somehow to them, is how do you know what the spirit you're encountering in your shadow work is one of your personal guides? In other words, how do you decipher, it continues on, how do you decipher and or identify? I'm having typing issues, she says. That's okay, Becca, thank you for being here.
All do.
But I can kind of help you on this. My advice is just ask them.
Right. Great minds think alike here, Blake. Yeah, literally. And I feel like that sometimes we don't see the forest for the trees. If that makes sense. Like maybe we're a little close. So, I'm so close that it's right here, but I'm not really seeing what's going on. And at that point, I always like to give the little exercise that you can do, which is really kind of cool. If you are around water, we know that water holds vibration, water conducts energy, and it's a great way to learn who your guides' names are from being around water. So it could be while you're still dry, So before you hop in the bathtub for a bath or the shower, you can ask, all right, I'm working with guide X and I recognize your energy, but I don't know your name. What name would you like me to call you? Because we have to think about, if it's an energy that has not been in human form, names are not important. We're human. We think names are important because we like labels. Labels are great. But other energies that don't have a human connection, they, they're just an energy. Like, they don't necessarily have a specific name. So you can just ask, like, what name would you like me to call you? Or please tell me your name. So then hop in the tub, hop in the shower, do your thing. By the time you get out, drying off, you should have something pop in. And I always tell people, it may be the weirdest thing on the earth. Like, you're like, what is that? What, like 2 sounds or something? That's okay. Try to sound it out the way you heard it, and then write it down the way you think it might be spelled. It's kind of personal to you. And that will be the name of the guide that you're asking about. And if you're not ready to hop in the shower for a bath or whatever, then you can do it while you're standing next to a body of water, like a little creek or a pond or a lake, anything like that. As long as you're in close proximity, then you can use that connection to the water. And you don't have to get in the water and take a swim or anything. You could literally be standing next to it, and with the intention that the water is bringing you that information. So that's one way that you can find out. So you can ask and think, yeah, I'm not getting anything. I can't read for myself. If I'm doing a tarot or an oracle reading, I just get nothing for me, like curtain goes up. And that's okay. I'm not meant to read for me, but apparently I read beautifully for other people.
You know what? I'm the same
Yeah.
way. I pull out my dice and I'm like, let's see who's around, and all I get is family members saying, hello and stuff, and I'm like, hi. It's nice to hear from y'all, but I literally have to go to other mediums. Just go, I'm too close to the situation, obviously, and can you help me with bleh?
So, a quick question: whenever you're asking for your spirit guide's name, and whatever you're about, I don't guess you have to be naked and getting into the shower, but I don't know, whatever gets their attention, right?
Hygiene is good.
Yeah, hygiene's good.
Yeah.
So you can like literally turn on your faucet and stand next to the running water in the sink and be like, okay, I'm honestly need your name. Do you go with whatever the first name or the first sound or whatever the first thing is that pops into your head? Should you assume that is your correct answer?
Absolutely, because that is your connection to your intuition or your higher self, the connection to source. So when we trust the very first thing that pops in, that is our connection with spirit. But if we're like, yeah, I didn't hear that, that's not what that is. Well, that's our ego popping in, it's self-doubt basically. And then that's when we kick ourselves later, like, oh man, why I oughta, or man, I should have done that. I should have turned right instead of left. But so yeah, always trust the first instinct that pops in, even if you might think it's the craziest thing you've ever heard. That's okay. Because it's the very first instinctual thing that pops in. That's what you need to trust.
Yeah.
For your answer.
What has been your funniest, craziest experience when dealing with spirit? Has there been one that's just like, okay, I can't do this right now? Have you ever had one that's just either got you laughing so much or just a crazy experience that you're going, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah. So when I was first starting out with mediumship, it was something apparently I've always been able to do, but never have been very confident until really this last year about, kind of like just tuning in now and, doing that quick little off the cuff reading. Before I was like, I'd recommend somebody else to do that. Probably you don't want me. So I was in Atchison, Kansas, doing a reading for a young lady who was, I'm going to say maybe early 30s in age. And she was wanting to connect with her husband. And in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, that's young. She's in her 30s. And he would have been about the same age as well. Like, wow, my gosh, that's crazy. And I always ask for the first name. That's all I need is the person's first name. And I work very specifically. I don't just open up the door for, oh, hey, there's somebody floating around and they want to talk to you. I don't work that way. I actually want a specific person that someone is wanting to connect with. Again, boundaries, I have them. So this lady gave me his name, and in my head, I have my little kind of green room hanging out here to the side energetically where they can come in that door, and that's where they hang out when we have our reading. And I asked for his name, like, hey, do you want to come in? And I got somebody by that name who, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I absolutely, if I describe him, I'm sure we're talking to the real person. And the first thing he said was, could you please tell her that I'm sorry for being a dick? And in my head, I'm like, oh shit, I can't say that.
Sure you can.
Oh, I can't say that to her. I'm like, wait, Kris, that's the whole point. That's the message. She's not going to know that you have the right person unless you share the direct message that you receive. So I said, okay, I'm going to say this. Here we go. And I preface it with, okay, pardon my French, but I need to tell you this. He says, I tell her I'm sorry for being a dick. And she looked right at me and she's like, oh yeah, you got the right person. That's him. He really was a dick.
I love when they come through with personality. That's my favorite.
Right?
That's my favorite
Right,
because that
yes.
just seals it for the person getting the reading. That's amazing.
Yeah. Amazing validation. And when she's like, yeah, that was him and he totally was a dick. We had some issues. I'm like, okay. She goes, still love him. But dang, we had issues. And I said, well, he's apologizing. Like, he really wants to make it right. This is really important. So then he continued to share some more messages for her, just assuring her that, he definitely was apologetic and, gave a little more detail. And we laughed, and I think we both had to go for the Kleenex box because we were laughing so hard that we had tears running down our cheeks.
That's the kind of
that's
tears
probably
I
the
like.
craziest.
Yeah, I like the
good kind of
tears
so cool.
with the laughter. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's so cool.
that is a beauty. Yeah, you're right. That's beautiful where you can get that, because that means that you not only connected to his spirit, I think he connected to his soul, his sense of humor, his personality, and it was enough that
Yeah.
she could identify so much that do you feel like that maybe she honestly felt like she was directly talking to him even though you were the form in front of her?
I do, yeah. And it's interesting. I had that happen this last weekend. I was back in Atchison, same location, doing
Mhm.
readings, and I had a young lady who was wanting to connect with her father. And I don't remember a lot other than the way he came in and the way he greeted her, and he was just running around. I was thinking of not the commercial, like cartoon, where it's like the atomic symbol, where the atom is like
The
spinning on
chaos
its
symbol?
axis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, just kind of doing, well, he was doing that in her energy, just running, like tag the wall or run back here and tag the wall. And hey, I mean, just high energy. Well, it turned out that literally was his energetic signature, what she remembered about him, about how he was always on the go, always busy, never stopped down, very upbeat. And the way he addressed her with the greeting was exactly what he said to her every single time before he passed. Throughout her life, that's how he addressed her. That's kind of like his pet name for her thing. But it's very interesting how it's just almost like all I do is just channel what comes through. And sometimes I think maybe they do feel like they're actually talking to that person again. It's just fascinating. And I know there's some contention about, people who do mediumship. Are they bringing through evidence? Do we have concrete evidence that you're talking to the person? Because you can tell anybody, oh, they loved you. Well, yeah, sure, you can.
Yeah.
It always feels a lot like when I channel from spirit that I get a lot of emotions, personality, about like how their feelings, like how they felt about somebody or something. And that's not necessarily super concrete unless the person can identify with, oh my gosh, yes, over and over again, they were angry about X, Y, or Z, and that was like their pattern. Or they always loved this one specific thing, and it was like their pattern. They always loved things along these lines. So sometimes, I feel like, I'm bringing everything that I'm getting from spirit, but they're not telling me, oh, the red car or the blue house or the yellow shirt, I don't necessarily get that, but, I can get personality traits or what they thought about a certain person in the family. Those kind of, I'm like, okay, well, I want to share that, they weren't happy with cousin so and so or uncle whoever did this, and they still haven't gotten over that. And then I think that kind of brings a little more validation
Yeah.
to the client. But yeah, it's so interesting because again, it doesn't happen the same way. It happens differently each time that I have somebody sit down with me and trust me with their reading. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting to hear how you work. Of course, I've seen it sitting across the table from you, and it's fascinating. But because every psychic medium is different, so if you're watching, and you're like, "Well, that didn't happen in my reading when I went to so and so," well, that's probably because that medium works differently than Kris does, just as Kris works differently than I do. We all work differently. For me, the validation comes in forms of tingly sensations on my body that are associated with the person that has passed. For instance, feeling the back of my head tingle, and come to find the person that I am channeling at the time was shot in the back of the head because they were a sheriff's officer and got taken out by the people who they were escorting. Sorry, that sounded horrible. Taken out. I never say that. I do apologize. Wow. They were killed.
And you're
I'm
channeling.
so sorry.
So, if you're saying that, then that might be the connection. The impetus was we needed to take them out.
Yeah.
In order to get out of the situation. So sometimes the language that comes through, is not what we would say personally, but it most definitely is not wrong because it totally fits with the emotions and the energy connected to that situation.
Yeah.
So yeah. Food for thought there.
So, because I want to make sure we definitely have time to get to this, because I could sit here and listen to you all night talk about how you work. You being an educator and the way you present is fascinating.
I'm learning a lot. I'm taking it all in.
So, I think the biggest question that a lot of people will have is, can this be learned? And when I say this, I mean as a whole. Mediumship, psychic abilities, angelic healing, Reiki, their energy healing,
fine-tuning your skills,
tarot, oracle, all that kind of stuff. Can it be learned?
Absolutely. I go by the theory that everybody has abilities in some fashion. Some of us maybe are naturally more connected to those abilities than others, but the possibility is always there. So if it was something that you would be interested in exploring, then start taking a look at, let's say, intuition. That's kind of one thing I think everybody probably has. Go back and think about moments in your life where maybe you had a near miss, and for some reason you didn't get in the car right at the time you were going to because you lost your keys, or you thought you locked the door, but you didn't. So you had to go back and check it. Or I know I had one time I missed an accident in my little neighborhood. Some lady took out the cluster mailboxes in my neighborhood. And I know one of those. And I would have been right there at the moment, my car would have been right by the mailboxes when she T-boned them. And it was weird. I got in my car. I'm like, and I need to open my console, and I did. And I was picking up some stuff, and I put my quarters in my little coin holder. Like, let me clean this up in here. Got some little, napkins I got to throw away in my little trash bag, and it probably took 10 minutes. I was just messing around, carbs on, air conditioners going, radios on. I'm having a great time cleaning out my console.
Yeah.
For no reason. We call that fiddle farting around. You were fiddle farting instead of getting where you were supposed to be. Right.
No reason. And I had no appointment. I was probably going to go to the store or something. And I backed out of the garage, went around the corner. And just as I get around the curve, I see there's, the mailboxes are laying over all the way over. They're completely off the pedestal. And there's a car almost on top of the mailboxes and 2 cars parked next to them. And the road's blocked. I'm thinking, shit.
It's a good thing I put those quarters up.
But it literally had just happened like 30 seconds before I rounded the corner. And had I, gotten everything together and not fiddle farted around, more than likely I would have been right there at that moment when the gal, and I think it was a case where she stepped on the accelerator, but she didn't realize how fast and how hard she stepped on it. Yeah. And man, she just zipped right in and it's like a week before we got our mail.
Oh, I bet.
The biggest thing, but
they can't just toss it in the air.
Yeah. And the car wasn't too bad. I think there's some minor front end damage, but so things like that. So trust your intuition. Like, well, yeah, if I'd have left, I've probably been the one who'd gotten T-boned in my car versus the mailbox is getting T-boned at the time. Or, you're driving, you're like, I don't know, I think I'm just going to turn here. And then you realize you turned and then you see traffic backed up. Like maybe there was an accident or traffic lights were out and you're late. So it's, I always say that, yes, it can be learned. Start thinking back, like, were there times where you made this choice instead of that choice, or I made that choice and regretted the fact that I did, that I should have made the original choice. But it can all be learned. There are lots of exercises that people can do to strengthen intuition. It's a muscle. It's like when we're in school, we learn how to read, we learn how to spell, we learn our math facts, we learn all of these things. And if we repeat, repetition, we practice, we get better, we get stronger. The brain works differently. So it's the same thing with working with any kind of, I'd call it a psychic skill, reading energy off of objects, psychometry. If you don't practice it, and I'm sure that there are people who have just the natural innate abilities that just, it happens,
Yeah.
but I always feel like it's important to do some sort of work, whether it's a little bit of meditation. That's a dirty word, I think. Quiet time, quiet focus.
Quiet
We'll call it
time.
that. Quiet focus. So people are like, oh my God, she said meditation. That's a horrible word. Well, yeah, it is for some. It is for me. I do not meditate, but I can sit quietly and I can focus. I know, Shelley, look on her face is like, what?
Sit
So,
quietly. That's
like,
very difficult for me, and to focus, you're asking too much of one person.
yeah, and sometimes it's just a specific type of music. It doesn't have to be, ooh, I'm, doing the all of that. It could very well be like maybe you love death metal music and that puts you in your zone. Well, when you're getting in your zone, that's a place where that you could work and perfect those skills or practice those skills or things that you do. So again, like mentioned earlier, it's different for everybody. But like the angelic healing, I did take Reiki training, so I am a master healer and master teacher as well. I don't know, a long handful of years ago, but those skills always stay with me. Once you're trained in Reiki, it doesn't leave you. You always have the ability to channel that energy. Same thing with the angelic healing. It's really just learning the principles and then learning the techniques, and then from that point, you just take it and run with it. Developing any kind of tuning into your clairs. So clairaudience, what are you hearing? Claircognizance, what is popping in? Clairgustance, like, do you have a taste in your mouth? Like you taste like copper pennies, which could be like somebody has been injured, like you bite your tongue and you have that coppery taste, if your tongue's bleeding. So things like that. So, all of those things can be strengthened. And, if you find somebody who you feel is a good mentor, it's always great. I think it's great to go to metaphysical fairs or conventions because you can meet so many people who have so many connections. And you
Yes.
can find people who have like experiences, people who work as teachers or mentors who are willing to take on students or give advice, or even just be a listening ear and just listen to somebody share, like, here's my experience, here's what's happening, and I feel like I'm crazy. Well, you're not, totally not. And I think it's really important that we all have kind of that open door to listening to other people and answering questions. And I'm the first one, if it's something that I don't know how to do or it's not one of my strengths, I'm going to find somebody to refer that person to. Former librarian, I know how to do the research. So, I always feel like, that I could use those skills because, I trained in that. So that's never going to leave me. And I can always make some connections and find somebody that I can put them in contact with.
And so they can come to Dragonfly Spirits. Do you have a website? Is it on your Facebook? Where do they find that?
Facebook. So Dragonfly Spirit on Facebook. If they want to send me a message on either TikTok or Instagram, I'm Dragonfly Spirit 5 because 5 is a number of change. Good number.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah. And then my email is Dragonfly Spirit KC. K is in the letter K and C, Kansas City, at Gmail. So, they
And
could find me many different places to send me a message. Yeah.
and if they wanted to learn from you, guys, former teacher, she knows how to do this stuff. If they wanted to learn from you and get one-on-one, because really, to be honest with you, I think that I would not be good in a group setting. I'm like a cat on cracker, a squirrel hunting a nut. I'm not going to be I get too distracted too easily. I think that if I'm
Yeah.
one-on-one, I tend to focus more because I'm like, okay, there's only one person and I need to pay attention. There isn't
Mhm.
5 different people to look at or listen to and shift my focus. If they want one-on-one, they can contact you to get that.
Absolutely, yes. So I guess I'd call it mentoring or coaching, and I like to tailor whatever the information is to what the person is looking for. If it's something that I'm not able to do, I can find somebody they can make contact with and ask their questions, and then maybe they're not mentoring with me, but maybe they're mentoring with somebody else. But most definitely, and I have taught. When we had a few little metaphysical stores open in eastern Jackson County, because I'm east and now south of Kansas City, I'm out in the country. Um, I taught psychic skills, so introduction to psychic skills. So people learned about things like um, intuition, trusting your connection, like psychometry, working with the pendulum. I call them psychic tools. So tools that we use, like your spirit dice that you use.
Mhm.
So things like that, kind of give a little introduction to what those are, how they can be used, things like that. So I've taught those skills. I have taught Reiki levels 1 and 2. As well. I've taught angelic healing, beginning and advanced. So yeah, there's opportunities for people to work on skills or get some sort of mentoring. I'm happy to do that. And
I
yeah,
love that. I love
Mm.
that.
yeah,
So I forget every now and then just how close you and I are now because I'm in KC now.
right.
I'm
Yeah,
not in Texas
yes.
anymore. I'm in KC now. So
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
thank you. Thank
So
you.
you mentioned metaphysical fairs. Are you going to be somewhere where these wonderful people that are listening can come and find you?
Absolutely. So I am going to be um, my next metaphysical fair is August 8th, and it's the Flint Hills Spirit Fair in Emporia, Kansas. And it's just a 1 day, Saturday, August 8th, and I think it's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll be doing readings out there. And starting tomorrow, every second Wednesday, I will be in person. You can actually, it's rare to find me in person unless it's an event these days because I live in a really small town, don't have a place, a brick and mortar for people to come. So I do my work virtually. But you can actually see me in person, either chat me up and visit with me or get a reading at a crystal shop called Enlightened KC. And it's in Mission, Kansas on Johnson Drive. So if you just Googled Enlightened KC in Mission, you could find it. And I'll be there on every second Wednesday from 2 to 6 offering readings. I'll be available for walk-ins,
I
and they
love
can
that.
message me and get on my books ahead of time if they want, or just show up because I'll be there. But yeah, so that's the catch me at least once a month in person if you want to see my face in the flesh.
And you do. You want to come and sit in front of her because
Yeah.
Kris is incredibly warm. She has this very trustworthy energy about her. I mean, I let her tell me something about me, and I don't do that. So I trusted her enough to go, yeah, go ahead. What do you want to say?
So,
She's very kind, very just exudes this warmth. You want to sit down in front of her. You want that one-on-one connection with her, if at all possible. I'm sorry, Blake. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was gonna say so before we end this out because I know we're pretty much at our time with you. Do you mind? We only had 4 other questions pop in for you. Do you mind tuning in? You can feel free to say no.
Sure.
We're not asking you to work. We told you that at the get-go.
That's what I do,
I
right?
was starring them to keep up with them, so we didn't lose them. And I was going to see if we had a little bit of time. So,
Yeah.
um,
Bring them on the screen. Yeah.
okay, first one is going to be from Fran Gilmore. She says, "Can you tell who or how many spirits are around?"
Okay, Fran. Okay, so first, I'm just kind of go around kind of your energy. Guess you would call it your aura. So energy that kind of emanates out from around you. Um, So you've got 3 main energies or spirits, if you want to call them, either way, energies or spirits that are in your energy around. The first one that I notice is more kind of, okay, kind of do a reference here. I'm seeing, I'm like mirror image here, so you got to remember like right or left. So it would be on your left side, like behind your shoulder, that area behind you. The first energy that pops up, I'm going to relate this to, this is male energy. I'm going to say grandfather, great grandfather, energy, most definitely a relative. Mother side of the family works as one of your spirit guides. Has been with you. Kind of feel like they would have, like they may have known you when you were a baby, but you wouldn't have obviously known them if you were a baby. And it feels like that was their choice to come back after they passed and crossed to be in your energy, to work with you more as I get protector versus an area. There are some guides that come back to work with people like money and finances. Maybe they were really good with that in their life. They see that maybe current person is struggling with that. So this feels more like they just came in to be more of an energetic protector for you. I would do the water exercise unless you know specifically like the name. And I don't always get names, which is kind of interesting because people think, oh, you're a medium, you should get a name. That doesn't necessarily happen. So that's one thing. Next thing I see is you have an animal spirit with you. And you've got, it's interesting. Ooh. So I get a hawk, which is connection to spirit. Like you receive messages. So I feel like you have some gifts more than intuition, where you do receive messages that come through to you. And that's usually what hawk represents. And hawk's flying around like behind you in this area. And then the other one that I saw, which is really fun, dolphin energy. And dolphins are all about freedom, joy, play, creativity. So if you have any of that going on in your life, so I see that. So those are like the 3 energies that I see around you, Fran. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And if I can for a second, I also know Fran. Fran travels. She goes places. She goes and has fun. That's how we met her.
Oh, cool.
I can actually vouch for that part. Fran has a fun, wonderful energy to her.
So our next ones are going to be from our friends Chad and Leslie Wandale over at the Old Park Hotel. Now they own the haunted Old Park Hotel, but they're asking specifically about their house, saying we've been having a spirit in our home for a while now. We aren't sure why they are here. Is there anything you can tell about our visitor?
So they're not a visitor. They actually come with the home. I got goosebumps when that question popped. I hadn't even read the words on the screen. So comes with, comes with a home. I'm going to say comes with, interesting. So however, the materials that the house was built with, is like that spirit is attached to all of that. So whether they worked on the house, building it, had some hands-on with the, creation of, whether it's lumber, like sawmill kind of thing. So that's literally like they're attached to I keep getting like the material, like the big word materials. Weird how that one word is like popping out at me like in like Sesame Street giant letters is what I'm seeing, which is weird. But yeah, so that's why they're there. It doesn't feel like they are malevolent in any way. And almost like there's a little less residual, more intelligent, it feels like. So they want to be recognized. So yeah, definitely talk to them. You do all the time anyway, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But yeah, you talk to them, and which is great because they're feeling validated. If you want them to move on, I mean, you certainly can. I don't think you will, since you own the hotel, which is very haunted. I kind of feel like you're not going to send them on their way. I just don't feel like there's anything bad going on because everybody coexists. That's kind of the life that you guys live. Everybody coexists. And I will say, I don't know it. I'll have to say, I don't know you. And I know Blake and Shelley can definitely confirm that I have no idea who I'm talking about. Like, I don't really follow that much on social media because I'm so I just don't. But yeah, so it feels like male. Feels like they passed kind of in the prime of their life. So I see more like a nice, fit, strong male who, for them, the prime of their life might have been about early 30s when they passed. But yeah, definitely I don't get anything negative by any means. More of just because, hey, I'm proud of what I did. I'm proud of this process. I'm proud of being a part of it. So when they passed, and it feels like a sudden passing, so some sort of maybe work accident, not necessarily they passed while working on building your house, but it feels like whatever they did. So and I keep getting like sawmill, like lumber. That's what I keep getting, like in some sort of accident, injured and then passed. So not an immediate death, but injured, suffered a little, not in a bad way, but like the injuries were catastrophic enough that they bled out enough that they weren't going to be able to survive that. But the death, I would say, feels very peaceful in that they just drifted. So it wasn't like dying in agony by any means. But that's that's what I get.
So they are saying that you're, first off, Fran said you're spot on. She thinks she knows who the first spirit is. Thank you so much. And then Chad and Leslie are responding with, think the material that you're actually picking up on does not have to do with the house, but the bracelet that we have within the house. This man that had this bracelet died at 35 years old in a jet crash.
What? Okay.
So that might be the material.
As she was talking, I was, that's exactly, I was like, I know exactly who you're picking up on.
So, all right, we got two more, and then we're gonna let you rest. I was kidding. So Pam wants to know, she's asking, my father and I never really got along. Does he visit me and judge me? LOL.
Pam.
Interesting. So I got no judge. I literally heard no judgment. Definitely visits. I do hear that like all the things that really kind of led to and I get like, clashing personalities, clashing of the minds, like all, it's just literally, it feels like maybe you guys were a little too much alike to get along, if that makes sense. Like he doesn't judge. It feels like he didn't like a lot of the things that you did. But if you rebel and you do what you do, because that's who you are, sometimes people have to take it or leave it. He couldn't take it. So I hear that because he's looking at me, he's going like, I couldn't take it. And it's just kind of like one of those, like, almost like I'm shrugging my shoulders, like, yeah, I couldn't take it. Because that's just not who I am and not what I do. But no, now past cross, all of that really is gone. There's no judgment, no anger. Definitely has your greatest good in mind, does pop in periodically, loves to give you your space. So definitely not showing up all the time, like right in your business, but most definitely does want to make sure that you are well and just wants to make sure that you are successful in the things that you do in your life. So I would say, he's mellowed now that he's passed through the cross compared to what he was like when he was alive. Yeah.
I love that. And then the last one that we have is from Rebecca Armstrong. And she just says, I know it's up to the guest if she chooses to tune in, but could she possibly confirm if there is a guide or person trying to reach me recently?
So I heard all the time. I heard like all the time, like we've been trying. It's kind of like we've been trying to reach you for your car's extended warranty.
Right, there you go.
Like they just keep coming.
Spammed by spirit.
Right. It's like those letters keep coming in the mail, like all like in Harry Potter where all the letters are like flying out of the mailbox. Like it's like they've been really trying to get like literally like knock 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 on, we're here. Knock, knock, knock. We're here. Answer, we're here. So yeah, most definitely. This is a guide. And it feels it's almost like they feel like you have the door closed. Like you're pardon my language, but I'm going to say you're putting up blocks. And it's almost like you've gotten in your own way. No disrespect intended, please. This is just, whatever channel is coming through from channeling from spirit, but it definitely feels like almost like you put up your own blocks. Like when you cut off your nose to spite your face, that kind of saying, like maybe you're putting up the blocks, but you don't necessarily realize that you are powerful enough to put up really, really strong blocks, and they really do work. So if you feel like you want to open the door to allow that guide to come in, I definitely would, if you feel that there's an issue with maybe protection, that you don't feel you're protected enough. I hear that you are. I hear that you have Archangel Michael in your spirit team. So kind of by default, you have great protection there, but you can set an intention and a focus that you are always protected by spirit in anything that you do. And then I wouldn't necessarily maybe open an invitation, but you could say that, I am willing to receive messages on my terms. So between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., I am available to receive these messages. So maybe set up some strong boundaries versus you don't want them poking at you in the middle of the night and waking up.
Yep.
Or keeping you awake because, interesting things or like dreams are popping in that are just wild and bizarre and crazy, because that happens sometimes. But, maybe set up some boundaries. Right. Yeah. I've had all this interesting. If we had enough time, we'd talk about CERN.
Oh, yeah.
And
The
the
CERN and
implications
everything.
of all the things and how
Yeah.
our sleep patterns have changed. But anyway, that's another day. But yeah, so most definitely a guide. Feels like this is a guide who was not related to you, so not a relative, and feels more like, well, here we're getting into some interesting territory. Feels like this is like a galactic or celestial energy. So yeah, not human form at any time, in its existence, but definitely, I don't know if that's like an avenue that you have any belief in or stock in, but that's what's kind of showing up. This is more like I'm getting pointed to the stars. So like intelligence, energy,
Wow.
that has been with you for a while. Yeah, a while, so maybe the last 5 years, kind of on the fringes, ready to make some contact with you.
That's wild. Okay,
That's
now I
interesting.
have to ask. Kris,
Yeah.
am I a cat alien?
Okay. I get alien, but maybe not of the cat variety.
Are you serious?
No. Yes. You asked the question. I'm going to give you an answer.
Did.
Yeah. So I don't get cat variety, but I do get there's maybe a connection there. Just how my voice went up when I said that.
Wow.
Kind of wild, but yeah.
I only asked because at a convention one time, I literally had a woman grab my arm, spin me around, put her finger in my face, and she goes, "I know what you are." And I'm like, "Shit, what am I?" And she goes, "I know what you are. You're a cat alien. I know what you are, and I know why you're here." And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay. And when she finally turned loose of me and I walked away, she goes, "I do know what you are." And I went, just because I was being a dick, I came running over to the table to tell Blake, I'm going, "Weird lady just grabbed my arm, told me she knew what I was." So now I have to ask. So yeah, apparently now I actually am an alien. Yay.
So funny.
Okay. And that's interesting because when people ask me questions like that, I mean, the answer that came out was like completely channeled. And like I got, like there's some alien connection. Maybe you're not an alien, but you've had visitations or you've had some contact in some fashion throughout your life. I don't know. I'll leave that with you.
I want to be an alien.
But
that'd be fun.
Right? Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm all in.
Yeah. So have you noticed like UAPs?
No, never
anytime
seen
you've
one.
had you haven't seen one.
Shelley.
What?
CE5 experience with Andrea Perrin.
Oh, I was the only one that saw that too.
There you go. There's your connection. There's your
Oh, I
alien connection.
All I saw was that bright burst of light, and I'm going, "Did you see that?" And everybody's like, "No." I'm like, I was the only one looking a different direction, and it was like this.
Yeah.
And I was going, "Whoa, what was that?" It was cool.
Yeah.
You're right. I
That
totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
there you
person
go.
leading it, when I brought him over there, he says, "Let's concentrate and let's look." And so, I'm like, I'm trying to concentrate, look real hard. And after a few minutes, he goes, "Maybe it was just meant for you." And I was like, "Okay, rock on. Good." I'm the only one going, "Yeah, I saw something in the sky. Yay me." Oh, that's wild. That's cool. I always thought that's just a
Yeah.
funny story I tell, but cool. I'm an
No,
alien.
you were meant to now, I will say alien connection. Not that you are an alien,
Oh, I
air
wanna
quotes
be.
around it, but for what it's worth, live it as you would like.
I would
All
love
right,
it. All right.
I usually don't do this with our psychic medium guests, but I will ask because I know that we get asked all the time to channel. But anything for me? This will be your final thoughts, Kris. Anything for me, and we'll get this wrapped up for you.
Anything for you? Interesting. Okay. So this is like really awesome for you. Like this is like new chapter. Yeah. So connected to your Reiki work that you just did. I hear you have an opportunity coming to actually like take the training and like study to go ahead and I'm hearing you should, otherwise it wouldn't be channeled through. Like if you've been kind of you're like sleeping on it, if that makes sense. So that would be the thing that you've been doing to kind of decide whether or not you want it to manifest in your life. It's already there. It's already manifested. It's already with you. Because sometimes it finds us before we find it, if that makes sense. And that's kind of how your life has always been, where things find you before you find them, which is a great thing. Why not? Yeah, so that's kind of your next chapter, and it feels like you're not going to use it traditionally. So we think of like, oh yeah, we see clients and we do energy work on them. This feels like it's going to be combined with what you do for readings, and that's kind of how I work. A lot of the modalities show up, and I don't know which ones are happening when they're happening. They just do, and it's like I call it a combo. It's combo reading. So it's kind of, I think it feels like that's going to be what you're going to be doing is we're doing the energy work along with like and you're going to do more for readings than you already do, which you already know that too. You're working on that as well. It's cooking. I won't say more.
Oh my
I'm not
God,
supposed
Kris!
to.
I haven't.
I'm not
Okay,
supposed
I
to
know
say
you're
any more
not
about
supposed to, but I'm going to tell you how spot on Kris is right now. Shelly does not even know some of this stuff because I've been keeping it on the back burner, but things have been cooking. Yes, my Reiki sessions training just got put into place. I should have my attunements within the next month. You're spot on with that. Shelly didn't even know that. Nobody knows that. The only people that know that are the people that are in this house that I live with, and now all of y'all live. As for being on the back burner with readings and things I'm doing differently, yes, Readings by Blake is about to come back, and it's been on the back burner for a while, and I'm about to hard launch that again. And I will be combining. The reason why you're seeing combo is because I'm now part of House of Many Paths, which combines Reiki healing, spirit ice readings, tarot readings, oracle card readings, as well as mental health counseling and did I say Reiki sessions? Anyways, mediumship as well, all in one area because I live in a house full of those types of practitioners, and we are all combining forces for wellness. Not necessarily wellness. We have all the answers, but more like let us meet you where you're at to help you on your healing journey with where you are and how we can help to regulate your nervous system to help you work through the rest of your healing journey with you.
Awesome.
So that's
Kris
why
is so amazing.
Kris,
Sign me up, friend. Sign me up, friend.
Yeah.
I want to experience this.
Yeah.
When it gets rolling, okay, look me up.
Absolutely.
And whenever the invasion
comes,
come and look me up. I'll put in a good word to my people for you.
We're not that far apart. So yes, we need to make that happen. Yeah, because I want a reading from you. Most definitely want a reading from you down the road when you're all.
Absolutely.
There's never any pressure because I'm just plain old average human, just like everybody else on this earth. So No,
As am I.
no
As
pressure.
am I.
Love it.
No pressure.
Shelley's the alien. And with
I-
that,
Yeah, with that, Blake, why don't you tell them everything they need to know?
sounds good. Bear with us. Well, y'all, if you want to support the show directly, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/EVP podcast. For just $5 a month, you'll unlock over 500 Patreon exclusive videos, including the pre and post broadcast, which are the 30 minutes before and the 30 minutes after this live broadcast. So you do get an additional hour with us each week. And if you're not sure about joining, you can try it risk-free with our 7-day free trial. Your support from this goes directly back to the show and towards the adventures that we bring you week after week. Make sure you stay connected with us by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and many more. Searching everything vaguely paranormal and looking for the green sound wave. Please go check out Dragonfly Spirit as well. Give them a follow. And go message Kris if you would like to get some angelic healing training or angelic healing or a reading or anything like that. Reach out to her. And remember, you can catch us live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. And also, to make it easier, we are going to add all of this to our link tree, which will be on the Everything Vaguely Paranormal Facebook and X profiles Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as well as in our show notes for you audio listeners. We are grateful for your continued support. Every like, comment, share, and download keeps the adventures alive. So if you have a favorite episode, share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to go download our catalog of episodes wherever you get your audio and leave us a review over there. And if you have a story, comment, or question, like to be a guest on the show or have us as guests on your show, email us at the evppod@gmail.com. That is THEEVPPOD@gmail.com.
Go like, share, and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up, say hello, and let us know you are here. And go tap on Dragonfly Spirit as well.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us for another weekly episode of Everything Vaguely Paranormal. For myself, I'm Blake Smith, my partner in the paranormal, Miss Shelley Pruitt, and our wonderful special guest this week from Dragonfly Spirit, Miss Kris Baughman. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. We love y'all. We love your support. And as always, we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.